Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle. Hope this video finds you folks very well in this extremely hot weather, muggy weather, not fair weather. If you are in the middle of a disaster zone, I hope you're doing okay. Hope you have enough supplies. And shout out to all of my viewers and subscribers. I really appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you all so much. And if you are new here, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing. We have news in Dokkan. Alright? And here we go. We have a see-through-it-all Gogeta's clones. There's a support memory here. Doesn't say anything about recruiting anything. And if so, that means that it's probably not going to be another free-to-play team. But I do believe that this will be fun altogether. It is a challenge event. So, which then, of course, leads into the support memory thing. So, I'm really curious about what kind of support memory that's going to be. It's probably going to be a 200, so it's probably a permanent category boost, or double category boost. Try to find the real Gogeta. Now, remember we had that poll in the Twitter X of the official Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle account? We had polls for your type of events that you wanted, and the Dokkan Ultimate Player's Choice Battle. Yes, they're taking those results and turning it into a event. And there is a unique title there. And that's going to be coming sometime soon. A new stage of When Wishes Backfire Birth of the Shadow Dragons. The support memory, Shenron as an enemy, can soon be boosted. So we would be getting medals to Zenkai, the support memory. Very interesting. First mode is coming. The Shadow Dragons of Despair. And the Baba shop for the exchange of the Proof of Mastery items, collected treasure items, is getting updated. You guys, if you have been grinding this, then you have an excess amount of these treasure items, and there's nothing you can really do with them, right? So them updating this is so good, because that means that this is probably going to be a permanent feature in Dokkan, and there will be, if not just normal items, there's gonna be stuff like this. Global tickets and character-exclusive EX skill orbs. This could be a permanently updating exchange shop, and something that is available every single day. This is enormous. Now, when Wishes Backfire Birth of the Shadow Dragons, the challenge event, the Dokkan event, Shadow Dragons of the Spear, is going to be unavailable until it's ready. And the period it's going to start being unavailable is August 1st. Yep. Let me see here which event that is. So it's this event. It's the one which we just got the new stage for, the physical Omega that dropped just a short couple of days ago. And it's not a very difficult event. Just remember, don't give attack to anyone. I'm of course going to be doing a video on that probably, but the premise still stays the same. Unless they're going to give us an incentive to get over 6k points, just do the minimum 6k points on one in your better team, and then go forward with the other team with no restrictions. And you will get all 9 Dragon Stones, all 20 missions, and all the coins involved for the exchange of the burst mode coins. Okay, and then we have groundbreaking news. Yes. Groundbreaking surprise out of the blue. Wait a minute. I knew this was coming. Yes. LR, Vegeta, and Trunks are gonna be able to Easy A in the third part of this celebration. I am so excited. Let's hop into the details. So the leader skill is Bond of Parent and Child or Future Saga category will be a 170% to stats and an additional key 1 and 30% to stats for characters who also belong to the Battle of Fate category. So I'm going to be doing the side-by-side comparison. There is the remainder of the facts is that they haven't changed the buff that they give to 200% leads, the 170 plus 30% leads, and it's just one key extra for the second category, for the additional category. And I do believe that it's a high time that particular leader skill got boosted. Okay. The passive skill details. Entrance animation, when there's another bond of parent or child category ally attacking the same turn upon the character's entry. And then it changes to when there is another bond of parent and child category ally on the team during that entry. So you're not very restricted there to make sure you have 5 of that category so that there are 6 of that category so that they're automatically going to be there at the same time. Used to be 2 key, 70% defense, and guards all attacks for 5 turns. Now it's key plus 7, 100% defense for 5 turns, and then damage reduction rate of 10%, and randomly changes key spheres of a certain type into excluded to rainbow key spheres for 3 turns. And that's a huge upgrade already. Another rainbow key sphere changer, so that's good, which he did not have before. Now, basic effects was key plus 2 and 140% attack and defense, and then launches an additional attack that has a 30% chance of becoming a super attack. Now it's key plus 2, 200% attack and defense, guaranteed guard, 20% damage reduction, and launches an additional attack that has a 70% chance of becoming a super attack. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Okay. This is entirely new. When attacking with 18 or more key, it launches an additional super attack. And this is also new. When activating the active skill or when attacking with 24 key, bond of parent and child category allies an additional 30%. And that will proc on top of everything else that's already happening. Wow. Okay. Now we have, for every attack received, used to be key plus 1 up to 5, now it's key plus 2 up to 10. Used to be just defense of 15% up to 75%, now it's attack of 20% up to 100%, and 50% defense up to 150% defense. Now, 5 turns, 5 hits, or received or evaded, nets you an additional 10 key, another 100% attack. But if you only get 3 of these to proc, whether you're dodging or receiving an attack, you are going to be getting up to that max of 150% in just 3 hits. And then used to be chance of performing your critical hit of 7% up to 35%, now it's 10% up to 50%. Here is where things get a little bit juicier. Used to be, as the first attacker in a turn, 70% attack and defense and guards. Now, as the first attack on a turn, it's 200% attack and defense. And he's already got guaranteed guard, so he instead has 30% damage reduction. Which means that he's going to have a baseline of 50% damage. This unit will have a baseline 50% damage reduction in the first slot. And that'll be That'll be very interesting to see what they do here. Now, I don't know if there is another part to the passive. There isn't. Okay, so there is another part to the passive. This is the entire passive. And overall, this is a very solid team. This is very solid, and it's a huge upgrade. Huge upgrade. So much more defense and 50% damage reduction is enormous. Absolutely enormous, especially if you can put them on the... Because you can put them on the Goku plus Vegeta team. They're going to have tons of HP and defense. Okay, so the 12 key super goes to greatly raising attack and defense for one turn, which is a 50%. And it used to be a 30%. So now it's going to be a 50%. Nothing else there. A little underwhelming. And then the 18 key is not changing for the stacking part. Still raising attack and defense. And now it raises allies' attack and defense by 5% in battle. This is something entirely new that they've done here, and I wonder if this is a typo. This new thing that they have done here is they've given a permanent stat buff for each time this activates to the entire team. It is very interesting to see. I would have loved for the 12th key to be stacking as well, or make this greatly raising attack and defense. Just because of more survivability in events like the special battle, where, like, you had Rose building up his attack each time he got hit. I would have loved for this to be a bigger stack, or the 12th key also stacking. All in all, very, very good EZA. I'm not going to say he's extremely busted, but this 18 key super has the potential to be extremely busted. Really, it does. But it would need a supremely long event like Festival of Battles. I don't think this unit would be viable in Festival of Battles past stage 38 or 40. Really, I don't. Again, I have to see testing to see what happens here. And then I can make my final thoughts on this. Now, we have even more news. Yes, that's right. I predicted this. I did, and I did. I did. In case you don't know when I predicted this happened on the collab I had with Raptor School, aka Pilk. Gogeta, Super Ssj4 Gogeta from 2021 is getting his EZA, and it's about time. Let's go into the details. Leader's skill. Giant Ape Power or Shadow Dragon Saga, key +3 in HP attack and defense of 170%. That is a minor upgrade to his previous leader skill, which was already 170% for Giant Ape Power, and although it was Shadow Dragon Saga category of key 3 and 150% attack and defense, it isn't a big upgrade here. In my opinion, just 20% more to the secondary stats. I could have just said key +1 for one of them or something like that. But let's hop into the details. So, used to be basic effects 200% attack and defense, and now it's key +4 and 300% attack and defense. Attacks are effective against all types, instead of limited to 8 turns, which it used to be. And then a damage reduction rate of 40%. For one turn from the character's entry turn, 40% damage reduction, additionally. So he's got 80% damage reduction on turn 1, so if you have any of these very difficult events, it would be great. Now, we have, for every attack received or evaded, chance of performing a critical hit of 25%. up to 100%. So no crits to this guy anymore. You don't need it. As the second or third attacker in the turn, okay, so they're trying to push him out of the first slot, okay? 250% additional attack and defense and a guaranteed additional super attack. I kid you not. I wasn't realizing what they did here. So they went for key +4 and attack and defense of 300%. They had a attack and defense of 40% and key +4, which was calculating into the 200% attack and defense, and they combined that together to the 300% attack and defense. I mean, they did give him 40% damage reduction, which is enormous. I wish this was for 8 turns, though. This additional 40% damage reduction, I wish was for 8 turns or 5 turns. Okay. And then when receiving a super attack used to be 50% chance of nullifying it and countering with tremendous power, now it's a 70% chance to nullify it and counter it for 10 turns, and a 50% chance of nullifying it and countering with tremendous power starting from the 11th turn. This is super good in shorter events where you won't have to go more than 6 or 7 turns. But typically, if you have to go 8 or 9 turns already with an event, you're probably going to end up with 10 to 12 turns anyway. I really don't like that they did this. I see what they did here. They basically took previously it was for 8 turns and then from the 9th turn. So he would lose at the 9th turn that 40% attack and defense have 4 key and guaranteed effective against all types, and it would go to 50% chance of attacks being effective against all types. Now, it's permanent effective against all types, and instead it's a permanent 300% attack and defense. But this just being for 1 turn is a huge letdown, if you ask me. It really is a huge letdown. I was hoping this guy would end up with 60 to 80% damage reduction for at least 10 turns, and that the super attack counter would be a 70% chance no matter what. This is quite a bit of a letdown. It's like they held back because it's such an old unit. But this had the potential to be the best standalone Gogeta. And I don't think this is the best standalone Gogeta because worldwide download celebration, Gogeta is due for a super easy A within the next year, and he's gonna be just so much better. I'm just a little bit flummoxed as to why they held back so much here. Truthfully. I mean, you could have just given this a build-up damage reduction rate for each attack received or evaded. Cost 5%, and just go up to 20 or 30. I just don't understand why they did this. Really, I don't. It's like they had just like, oh, hold back a second, hold back. Can't let this guy be good. We can make him okay. And only for a short time. Granted, he's got another 260% attack and defense if he's in the second or third attacker. Sorry, not 200, 310% attack and defense. 250%, which is stuck behind him being as a second or third attacker. And typically, you want countering units in the first slot for those very difficult events where they're supering slot 1 and you can't even get any defense up from supering. At least they did not lock any of his kit behind having to attack. It's like it's missing a huge part of a year, just like another 4 lines of text should be here. Oh well. Now, the super attack. Used to be 50% attack and defense for 1 turn, and now it is 100% attack and 50% defense for 4 turns. And immense damage. That is a significant upgrade, but I don't see his long-term survivability in longer events and progressively more difficult stages. For example, Special Battle. Mm-hmm. Granted, if I went and used the EGL Vegeta, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, my incredible one, he would probably do great if you don't have that Gogeta. I don't know. I really don't. I have no idea. I'm just flummoxed. I really thought that these two EZAs would be much, much better. I really, really, really thought that these two Super EZAs would. Sorry, these two EZAs would be better. My word. I don't know what to say, folks. I really don't know what to say. Well, that's gonna be it for the video. I don't know why they held back so much on these EZAs. They did introduce this interesting thing for the Vegeta and Trunks, which is 5% attack and defense permanently. But you're only going to be getting that once per turn. That's not going to stack up anywhere close to fast. That's going to just be a really slow build-up, and you'd have to keep him on rotation every time. And again, I don't see that their kit is very, very good defensively. You're going to have 50% damage reduction, sure, but you need like 70% for him to be viable as a slot 1 unit, I think. I don't know. Well, that's going to be it for the video. If this brought you some good information, please consider liking. And if you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comment section down below. And hopefully I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.